What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I just got out of seeing Eternals, and um, I don't hate it, but I definitely don't love it. Hell, I don't even know if I like it, to be honest. Um, what you read, like the title, if you read it, this movie is exactly that. Chloe Zhao's Eternals, and what I mean by that is this is the product of an indie director given the chance to do an IP within a running franchise. And what I mean by that is you have Chloe who does her thing, but then you have the franchise telling her to inject certain things from the franchise in the movie so it still feels like it's made from the MCU. All the reviews about saying like it feels completely different from an MCU movie, I disagree with that. Just because it has better cinematography than other MCU movies doesn't mean it's different, because I feel like for me, the tone of this is what's kind of off, because it's like you could tell Chloe wanted to make something very dramatic and very mythical in a sense, but you also had the MCU isms that take away from that. Like you have a number of characters that are on both of those sides. Like you have Icarus and Athena and bad with names, so you gotta excuse me. And I forgot the main lead. I forgot what her character's name was, but then you have Brian's character, and it's just the tone of the film is clashing to me, because you'll have serious moments and it's interrupted by something jokey, and it feels like the typical Marvel movie. Like there are moments that feel different, but like there are moments that feel like, again, like I said, an MCU film. And for me, it's just ping pong back and forth of those tones. They don't really mesh together in one singular tone. It's just ping pong. That's all it is the whole time. And I don't understand why critics don't like this movie, because to me, like I said, it feels like an MCU film. It doesn't feel that much different. I mean, it takes itself a little bit more serious in certain areas, but it still feels the same. Like this isn't going to be a huge step outside the lane. And again, the only thing that's really vastly different is the cinematography. Like you can tell that real locations were used. There are some great shots. Like I said, it's visually a pretty good looking movie, but at the core of it, it's still an MCU movie. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of humor throughout, a lot of humor. And I don't know, if you're not a fan of MCU humor, then this one isn't gonna really do much better for you. I think the action was pretty cool. The deviants and the action sequences, they did look pretty dope. I'll say that. But it's just crazy because, and I hate to be that guy, man. I hate to be that dude. But every time I saw Icarus fighting, I couldn't help but think Superman looks better. Like all the movies Superman's been in, Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, he does what they're trying to do way better. What else can I say? And another thing about the movie is, for me, it felt, like I said, how Chloe wanted to be dramatic, and I feel like if the whole movie would have been dramatic and tonally serious, it would have worked a whole lot better. But with it ping-ponging back and forth, it makes the movie, it makes points of the movie seem overly dramatic and a little bit try-hard. Like some of the performances and dialogue seem like something that would be on a stage, like for a stage show. And again, I would like that if the whole movie was leaning a little bit more towards that, and really was like, I'm gonna be dramatic. And I guess it doesn't help too seeing Dune, because it's like this movie wanted to have the tone of Dune, but it didn't at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because Dune is really dramatic, and I really love that they hone in on being serious, and it's like, this is a mythical story, and this is the lore, and everyone takes it seriously. And the only person who's really funny is Jason, and he has like a few lines, but for the most part, it's totally serious. And this movie didn't do that. Like, it had the moments that's totally serious like that, and again, ping-ponging, and it just makes the serious moments and dramatic moments just look like, okay, this is over the top, you're trying too hard. Like, emotionally, he's just trying too hard. And with that being the ping-ponging of the tone, the movie felt really hollow. Like, it didn't pack an emotional punch for me. It just was kind of like, you don't really feel anything because of the tonal switches. And a lot of the characters are just, I don't know, they just don't seem like they have any type of characteristics. You know, if they're not funny, they're just kind of like wooden. So the emotion of the movie doesn't feel pungent at all to me. And the third act was just, excuse me, you know, I saw people saying Shang-Chi was a typical MCU third act, and I disagree because, you know, up until then, we never saw any kaiju in the movie. So for me personally, when I watch Shang-Chi, I'm thinking about like wushu movies and how it's kind of, you know, like I said, wushu with dragons fighting and damn near Naruto type stuff, you know, conjuring creatures and using chi beams. I'm like, that's different. This movie definitely has the typical MCU third act, a CGI fest, and the third act is so jarring because of the drawback. It's crazy how this movie ping pongs back and forth, right? How like they chose to use a lot of real set locations. So sometimes when you have an actor on green screen, it's very noticeable, extremely noticeable. Especially the third act, because the whole entire third act is on a green screen. So when you shoot the majority of a movie in real locations and then you just switch up to the final 30 minutes being on a green screen, it looks very odd. And for this movie, you could tell it's jarring. And the VFX, I don't know why they insist on doing VFX when it's like bright outside, because you really can see the inconsistencies in it. And oh man, this movie is like literally like trope after trope of like a superhero movie. Like everyone's saying the things that are supposed to be heard. Everyone's saying the things that you know are gonna happen. It all works the same way it happens. You can kind of see where it's leading as you watch the movie. And again, this is one of those things where it's like they try and do something different, but they just interject too much of the MCU isms in it. Like the two movies to me that don't feel that did it right are Winter Soldier and Black Panther. I feel like those two movies really didn't allow the MCU isms to really take over, and the tone wasn't ping ponging back and forth. Like they pretty much took it seriously the whole time. And that is this problem's movie, man. It's just ping-ponging way too much. I did like how the Celestials were framed in this movie, showing them so gargantuan and, you know, in space, and how large they are compared to the Earth, and, you know, to the humans. Like, that part was cool. And I dug that aspect of it. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I said, I don't love it, I don't hate it, and I don't like it. It's just kind of like a movie that's just here for me. Not much of it really worked out for me. I did like, again, the action. Some of the action sequences were pretty cool, especially the one in the forest. I thought that was the best action sequence of them all. I think they really drove that home there, and I like that. I don't know. This movie is just pretty hollow. Like I said, it's a good looking movie. I would say that cinematography is great. There are some fantastic shots. I would say that, you know. But other than that, man, I cannot say that I really enjoyed the movie. I can't. I do think you should watch it, just form your own opinion if you're interested. Don't let the critics, you know, stop you from going. Don't let me stop you from going. Like I said, I think you should see it. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it was great. And I think they had an opportunity to do something great, but I feel like Chloe was held back. Or, I mean, maybe this is the movie she wanted and she could have had it tonally this way, but the tone was just too much for me. It was just too back and forth to where I don't really know what's going on. And no performances really stood out either. I did like Angelina Jolie. I think when she's kicking ass in that, you know, in that character, as a character that's kicking ass, I think she always does dope. And I think she had some really cool scenes out of everyone else's. And that's kind of where I'm at with it, man. And my last thing about the MCU, I feel like they need to take a step back, man. Like all of this content, I think, is starting to, I'm not gonna say wear down on people, but it's just exposing the weaknesses that people have been willing to overlook prior to Endgame. You know what I mean? Like just this year, we think about all the MCU projects that we've gotten. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Hawkeye. This is a lot of stuff in 1 year, and it's like if you're gonna release that, I think they really need to start changing up the genres and like the tone, man. Like give us something serious. Back to the playful MCU, serious, playful, whatever you want to do. But it just for me personally, these movies getting put out there, it's like the same stuff over and over. You know, with the exception of a few. Because Shang-Chi, I feel like it was different, but the kind of movie it was trying, kind of movie it is and was trying to be fits in with what the MCU has already done. Like I said, I feel like they were trying to make a Jackie Chan film slash wushu film, and those films particularly, well not the wushu, more so Jackie Chan. They kind of can fit into the tone of being playful and happy because it's just the kind of movies Jackie makes. But other than that, man. Definitely check it out for yourself. Don't let me stop you. And that's pretty much all I can really say. Until next time, peace.